What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and today I am going to be making a video on spell speeds. I am a judge, so I know the rules almost inside and out. Um, and so we're gonna talk about spell speeds and what they are, and what they do. So first off, spell speeds are um, the which the are a game mechanic in which cards can be activated. The higher the spell speed, the quicker the activation is that you can do. And so the basic guide is a spell speed can only be responded with a spell speed, something of the same spell speed or higher. With the exception of spell speed 1, because spell speed 1 you can't respond to anything uh, with a spell speed 1 card, and we're going to talk about what a spell speed 1 is, what a spell speed 2s are, and what spell speed 3s are. And then we have Super Poly as an example of something else, but we'll get into that later. So first off, we have Chaos Sorcerer is the example I'm using for a spell speed 1, as well as Upstart Goblin. So this is for the monster effect. Okay, so it has the once per turn you can target one face-up monster on the field, banish that target. Okay, so that effect is a spell speed 1. And what that means is you have to do it on your main phase, and it has to be the thing that starts a chain. You can't chain it in response to anything else. Uh, so yeah. So what that means is when you summon Chaos Sorcerer, if your opponent doesn't have a response to the summon, then you get to use its effect if you want, but you can't respond if they use like Bottomless Trap Hole when you summon it. You can't use its effect in response to Bottomless to banish something, because Bottomless is a spell speed 2, and because of it being spell speed 1, it can't respond to anything, even other spell speed 1s. Upstart Goblin is our spell version of this that is the same. So, that also means that you have to activate this on your main phase 1 or 2, and you can't activate it in response to anything, and that's pretty simple. It's pretty simple to get. So, yeah, you can't activate it in a chain to anything whatsoever. Now, for a spell speed 2 examples, we have 3 cards, and we're going to talk about each one and where they apply. So, Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 8's spell speed 2 effect says during either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So, because it says during either player's turn, and it doesn't, even though it doesn't say quick effect, that's because this card is old and it doesn't have problem solving card text. But if it ever gets a reprint, it'll say quick effect during or quick effect. You can, when a spell card is activated, you can negate it. That's what it'll say if it ever gets a reprint after problem solving card text was invented. That's what it'll say. So this case, as long as Horus is on the field, you can activate things. You can activate its effect in response to any spell card, and I mean any spell card, because it is on the same level as our next card, MST. So, or Mystical Space Typhoon. MST is a slang term that the players use. But so quick play spell cards are um, spell speed 2. And what that means is they can be responded to monster effects, and they can be responded to continuous, normal or continuous trap cards. So yeah, they can be any spell card, any monster effect, and any uh, normal or continuous trap cards. Quick play spells can be responded with. The exception of a quick play spell not being able to be responded is they work like traps in the sense that when you set them, you can't flip them face up. Uh, but that's a different topic altogether, and I might have released a spell card version, or yeah, I released a long time ago because it's going to go in a playlist called Getting Better at Yu-Gi-Oh! In one of the previous ones in this playlist, there is a guide to spells and traps in general. I think I talk a little bit about spell speeds there, but this video is a more in-depth look at spell speed. But yes, Horus can respond to any spell activation whatsoever, because except for Super Poly, but that's for a different reason. We'll get into Super Poly after we talk about what a spell speed 3 is. But this can respond to almost any spell card in the game. The only ones it can't respond to are cards that basically specifically list that say your opponent cannot activate something like monster effects in response to this card, or card effects in response to this card. That's basically the only thing that the only spell cards that Horus can't respond to are ones that specifically say that. But it can respond to any thing because it is of the same spell speed. And similar, all trap cards, with the exception of counter traps, which we'll talk about in a second, are spell speed 2. So continuous and normal trap cards are spell speed 2, and so are their effects unless they state otherwise. And what I mean by that is there are continuous trap cards that say during your main phase you can do something, but if it says during the main phase and it's a continuous trap card, you can do it on your opponent's turn because it's a spell speed 2. And spell speed 2s allow you to do anything, basically allow you to play on your opponent's turn as long as you meet the card's activation requirements. For all traps, this require not all traps, but the majority of traps, like Compulse, this requires you setting and waiting till your opponent's turn before you can activate them, and stuff like that. So, yeah, trap cards can be responded to anything here past this. So these three right here can be responded. Horus can't respond to a trap card because its effect doesn't call for that, but if it did, it could, basically. It's on the same spell speed as this Compulse and MST. So these three can respond to anything of trap, spell, continuous trap, continuous spell, quick play spell, and all monster effects these cards can respond to unless the card states otherwise. And then the last card we're talking about, or the last official spell speed we're talking about, is spell speed 3, which is our counter traps. Counter traps are in spell speed 3. This means that they can only be stopped by other cards of the same spell speed and other counter traps. They're the only ones that can do this. They're in a league of their own, and yeah, that's pretty much it. They're in a league of their own. They allow you to always be able to respond to things unless the card states otherwise. And yeah, so Solemn Judgment can respond to every single card from even another Solemn Judgment. So Solemn Judgment and back this way. It can respond to all of those. Now, if I'm with you so far, then that's fine. And I hope you understand what I'm trying to talk about and get the points that I'm making. If you have any questions down in the comment section, or you can leave them in the comment section and I will try to answer them about spell speeds. But yeah, next up we're going to talk about super polymerization. Now, super polymerization is technically a spell speed 2 because it is a quick play spell card. So you cannot respond to it with, so you can't use it to respond to a counter trap, but the community calls it, slang terms calls it a spell speed 4. And they call it that because it says that neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Spell speed 4 is not an official term. by Yu-Gi-Oh! Just to let you guys know that. And if it was, and this card technically was considered a spell speed 4, then you could buy the game requirements, chain it in response to a trap card or a counter trap card, which you can't. This is still technically a spell speed 2. It's just that your opponents cannot respond to it because of its own effect. That's about it. So, super polymerization and cards like it, the community calls them spell speed 4s, but they're not really spell speed 4. They're technically in their own spell speeds and the respective spell speeds of whatever card the activation has. It's just that your opponent cannot respond to them. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope I explained it well enough for any of you to grasp. As I said, if you have any questions about spell speeds or want some clarification, you can put it down in the comments section, and I will try to get to you as fast as I can. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday. If you want to send me any cool deck profiles or replays, my email's in the description. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.